When you checked in, you got either a blue sticker or a red sticker. Red sticker are the non-voting guests here today. The blue stickers are the ones that are voting. So anyone with a red name tag should be sitting in the last 2 rows. Thank you. Now I'd like to turn it over to Senator Spilka.
Thank you, Tom. I'd like to give a round of applause for Tom Mahoney and all of his work in the Framingham Democratic Town Committee. You will not meet a better and more hardworking group of activists than the Framingham Democratic Town Committee. So it's a pleasure to welcome all of you here as well. This is the caucus for Framingham for our picking the delegates for convention, but I know that there's a lot of candidates that are here because Framingham rocks, it matters, and there's a lot of people that came here today to address the delegates. So I just want to welcome everybody, and I know that there will be a round of contested candidates statewide that are speaking, but I just want to reiterate and mention that make sure you sign nomination papers for everybody so that everybody can get their name on the ballot at least, and make sure that you continue to support I'm going to mention just those Democrats that do not have a primary. I'm not going to get into the primary candidates because you'll hear from them. But Tom Senecandro, Chris Walsh, Bob Jubenville, Suzanne Bump is here. I know Bill Galvin doesn't have a primary, Catherine Clark, and myself. So please help support us. I do want to recognize Alice Peisch, who's here from Wellesley as well. Whoever you end up supporting, and I know all of you will be working really hard, but whoever you end up supporting, come the primary, let's all work hard to make sure that we keep a Democrat in the corner office and that we have as many Democrats in all of the statewide positions that we do today. Thank you very much.
I also asked our representatives from Framingham to say some welcoming remarks too. So right now I'd like to call on Chris Walsh.
Good afternoon, Framingham. Good afternoon, Democrats. This is really exciting. You guys, a lot of buzz in here, and I love that. I've said this to the Democratic Town Committee before. I'm incredibly proud to represent Framingham at the State House. It's an incredible community. It's a vibrant community. It's a progressive community, and that is a fabulous thing. One of the things, obviously, that is huge on my mind right now is an aggressive minimum wage. It's something that has been lacking in our state, and we need to be the first state to really take a big step in that direction. I know we're going to do it with the support of all of the people in this room. So, having said that, I want to bring up Tom Santacandro, another rep from this from Framingham. He is what makes this job fun. He and Karen and Tom Conroy, Alice Peisch, all of the people that I get to work with make this job just fabulous. So, Tom?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you all for being here. This is so important for our Commonwealth as we move ahead. Chris talked about some of the progressive values. Karen talked about the importance that we get a Democrat in the corner office as well as Democrats elected. Having been in the legislature under a Republican governor and then been in the legislature under a Democratic governor, Governor Deval Patrick, the difference has been amazing. And we've changed the Commonwealth, and it's important as we move ahead and move on in these caucuses that we continue to elect Democrats to these offices. It makes all the difference in the world. It makes a difference to everybody who lives here in Massachusetts. So thanks for taking your time out of day today to do this work.
Thank you. Right now I'd like to call up our newest Congresswoman to represent this district, Catherine Clark.
I will make it very brief because you have lots of great candidates. I just want to say how great it is to be in Framingham. Some of you may have seen me at the State of the Union, and I just want to tell you a little story about that. I actually had a seat saved sort of near the aisle, but Michelle Bachmann took my seat. But as usual, things didn't work out for Michelle because I ended up sitting in a group of Tea Party conservatives who were more than willing to let me go right by them to the aisle to greet the president. So we will get our way one way or the other. But I cannot thank you enough for the support. I am proud every day to represent Framingham and to be able to stand on the House floor from Massachusetts and talk about what it means to have people who are insured, what it means to make an economy that's open to everyone, what it means to have marriage equality. These are the strengths that I get to bring because of the work that you do as Democratic activists. So I thank you. It's delightful to be here, and I hope I'll be able to talk to you afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Clark. Right now it's 1 o'clock, and as published, our caucus is, I'm going to call the caucus to order. Then I'm going to ask any of the candidates that are here to speak very briefly as you can, but no more than 2 minutes, and then we will get to the rest of the caucus. In actuality, we have to keep registrations open for 15 minutes, so we do have 15 minutes before we can actually vote. So with that, I'm calling the 2014 Democratic Caucus in the town of Framingham to order. Yeah. Now, I asked the candidates if they wish to say a few words, and I have a list here, and I'm just going to go in the order that I see them on the list as they came in. So The first one, I'd like to call up Mike Lake, candidate for Lieutenant Governor.
Well, good afternoon, Framingham. Come on. Good afternoon, Framingham. That's it. My name is Mike Lake, and I'm running to be your next Lieutenant Governor. And as many of you have heard me say this before, but Framingham, I always say, is my political hometown. It's the site where I gave my very first political speech, and it has been my hometown ever since. It's great to be back, and I'm looking forward to your support today, in September, and again in November. And I'm asking you to stand with me, to stand to deliver on what I call the Massachusetts promise, the promise of high-quality education for every child in the Commonwealth, the promise of safe communities so that they can go to and from school without fear of violence, and the promise of jobs that pay a livable wage. We can start in Massachusetts by raising the minimum wage, but we can't stop there. We need to make sure that every family in the Commonwealth has an opportunity to work and to afford a roof over their head and 3 meals a day and build on that future. I'm asking for your support. For those of you who are elected delegate today, I look forward to seeing you at the convention in June. I ask for your support at that convention as well. And just on one last plug, the Friday of the convention happens to be my 36th birthday. So we're doing a birthday party. We're all invited. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for being part of this process.
Next one is Steve Kerrigan, also a candidate for Lieutenant Governor.
Tom, my name is Steve Kerrigan. Thanks very much for having me, Tom. Thank you. I'm not going to say much about my bio. It's on lit. That's probably out and around. And I am much older than 36, so it will take a little bit longer. So I appreciate the time you've given me. And as the former CEO of the Democratic National Convention, when a timekeeper tells you to keep it under 2 minutes, trust me, you have to do that. I'm just here to say thanks. You guys have been the backbone of the Democratic Party since our creation. You guys have been fighting on the front lines for Democratic candidates and Democratic causes, and we're frankly, all of my colleagues who are making this race with us, just are here to say thanks. You know, you guys have worked hard for our party. You've worked hard to make sure that people have a living wage and a safe working conditions and good health care and marriage equality, so my partner and I can have an opportunity to marry. You know, you guys have been what Massachusetts is all about. When John Adams created our great Commonwealth, he said we were a Commonwealth because a Commonwealth is a commitment between the collective and the individual back to the collective. Nothing represents that more than you all here, gathered here today, to elect delegates to the convention, to work hard over the next 191 days to make sure we elect the strongest slate of candidates in September and on to November 4th. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart as a Democrat, and I look forward to seeing you in June at the convention, in September, and then on Election Day in November. Thanks.
I want to apologize to the candidates. It was just pointed out to me that I probably should have gone in the order of the elected office. So at this time, I would like to call up the candidates for governor. Hold on, please. First one I'd like to call up is Don Berwick.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Don Berwick. Thank you for having me here. I would love to be your governor. I'm a pediatrician by training. I'm an executive for 30 years. I started and ran a nonprofit organization that grew to international size to work on health and healthcare and community improvement all over the world. Then I went to Washington at President Obama's request to run Medicare and Medicaid. The Republicans tried to block me. Glenn Beck called me the second most dangerous man in America, which was my welcome to Washington. But I went there. Thank you. He's wrong, I'm first, but actually, I'll tell you what is dangerous. What's dangerous is taking food away from kids and allowing the growing income disparities in our country to go ahead. What's dangerous is not having roofs over the heads of our returning veterans or allowing a correction system to go over the edge of catastrophe. What's dangerous is not committing to the progressive agenda that underlies the kind of society we want to have and build. That agenda is social justice, and it's equality, it's opportunity for everybody, and it's compassion in government. I want to fight for that. I'd love to be your governor, and I will fight for that if you let me. Please support me. My name is Don Berwick. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call up Juliette Kayyem.
I do feel like this is speed dating. My name is Juliette Kayyem. I want to be your governor of Massachusetts. Look, there's many ways to describe me. I am a mother of 3 children and a wife. I'm a public servant. I have served 2 presidents and this governor, both as a civil rights attorney pushing for the progressive causes that you and I care about as Democrats, and also as a Homeland Security advisor to the governor and Assistant Secretary for Homeland Security for the president. That is about our homes and our safety and security. It's about risk reduction from crime and guns and drugs and climate change. Those are the skills I have. I am the daughter of an immigrant family, and I represent a new generation of leadership for this state. The challenges that we have, income inequality, and infrastructure that's, I point outside, an infrastructure that's barely keeping us together, as schools that are satisfying some of our children, but certainly not all of them. Those challenges will only be solved, right, by leadership that does not view government as a hammer to a nail, but as harnessing the collective goodwill of all of you and our communities and our mayors and our regions for common solutions for the future. That is what I've done all my career, and the issues we don't talk enough about, veterans, climate change, criminal justice reform, I have put at the forefront of my platform. So I just would love for your consideration today. It's an exciting race, and I welcome you to go online, check out my detailed and bold plans for the vision I have of Massachusetts, one that is the most welcoming, a state that is the most connected, and the state that is the most prepared for whatever challenges come our way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to call up Martha Coakley.
I've got 2 minutes. Thank you very much, Framingham. Thank you for coming out today on a nice Sunday when you could be doing other things, but I know you, as I do, care about equality, opportunity, making sure that we keep good Democrats in the corner office and all those other constitutional offices because they matter. And this is a critical time for Massachusetts as we are slowly turning the economy around, but it has to be for everybody, not just those at the top. We need good schools for all of our children, and we have to make sure that we have good physical health care and, I believe, reduce the stigma around and provide for better mental health care. You know, I've had time running for district attorney, serving as your district attorney, and as attorney general, having a chance to sit and talk with a family worried about what would happen after their 6-year-old testified. I've had a chance to sit with a family that didn't know if they were going to lose their home because they were going to be foreclosed upon by Wells Fargo for 18 months. I've had a chance to sit with a family that is now a family because we were able to challenge the Defense of Marriage Act and make sure that marriage equality is the law both on the federal level and the state level here in Massachusetts. And I've had the chance to sit with a family who's wondered what is the future going to be like after the marathon last year because Dad has lost his leg. All of those people in Massachusetts care about what happens next, as I know you do. And we need a governor who will make sure that we will put our people of Massachusetts first. It is our strongest resource. It's why businesses want to come and stay here. It's what we care about in making sure people have an opportunity to climb up the ladder, and particularly to make sure that as we've been the leader in healthcare across the country, we can be the leader in making sure that no families have to suffer from the stigma of mental and behavioral illness. I'd love to have your vote consideration today. Look forward to working with you as we make sure that we keep that corner office democratic. Thank you, everybody. Have a great caucus.
I'd like to call up Steve Grossman.
Okay, we good? Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm here to do several things. First thing I want you to do is to introduce you to my wife, Barbara, right over here to the left. And I introduce you to Barbara not just because we've been married for 45 years, but because Barbara's a theater historian. She's vice chair of the Mass Cultural Council. And as we talk about STEM education, We need to make sure we bring the arts back into public education in Massachusetts in a significant way. The arts enrich the lives of every one of our children, and Barbara and others are going to do that. I've said I'll double the funding for the Mass Cultural Council, working with the legislature, and that has a huge importance. I want you to know how grateful I am to you. I came here in 2002, you supported me. I came here in 2010 when I ran for state treasurer, you supported me. You gave me the privilege of leadership, and I said I would do one thing in particular, working with Karen Spilka, who's endorsed me for this office and who's been a warrior for jobs and economic development in this legislature over these last few years. I said I'd create a small business banking partnership to help small businesses grow. There's nothing that Framingham needs more than improving and enriching the commercial tax base right here in the town of Framingham. We have helped create jobs by putting money in the hands of small businesses owned by women, people of color, immigrants, and veterans. We'll continue to do that. I want to use the whole toolbox that a governor has to create jobs and economic development. That is the most important thing we can do. And finally, we need to revolutionize the way we deliver health care in this state. Move health care from the acute care hospitals to community health centers, invest in wellness, and we need to put single payer right smack in the middle of the public conversation of the people of this Commonwealth. Those are the things I would like to talk about. I'd like to be your nominee. I hope you'll support me in this caucus and in the convention on June 14th. Thank you, Framingham, for always being there for me. I hope you'll be there for me this year as well. Thanks so much for
the fifth candidate, Frank Alvalone, I do not believe he's here, but he did send a representative if they want to come up.
Thank you very much. Actually, the fifth candidate is Joe Avalone. My name is Alice Peisch. I'm the state representative for the 14th Norfolk District. I know many of you very well, as I know that you're all very anxious to get on with the caucus, so I just want to say one or two things about Joe. He would make a terrific candidate and he would make a terrific governor for the challenges that we have facing us in the coming years. He's a physician by training, but he's been a healthcare executive for the bulk of his career. He served in local government, so he's very familiar with the kinds of issues that Framingham faces. If there is one thing that I'd like you to know about Joe, it would be his commitment to the people of this Commonwealth, and I think that's evidenced by what the Globe's editorial today that lauds him for his proposal on creating an Office of Recovery. I'm sure you're all aware of what an important issue that has recently become. So I actually ask you to go to his website, avaloneforgovernor.com. We've got some materials here, and also with me today representing Joe, who could not be here, is his wife, Sandy. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thanks. I'd like to go back now to the candidates for Lieutenant Governor. Next one is Leland Chung.
Hello, Framingham. So my name is Leland Chung. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. It's a pleasure. I've met a lot of you in this room through my work on the executive board of the Democratic State Committee, and as one of the people that Chairman Walsh asked last year to help write the Democratic Party platform, which we worked on here and adopted the convention last year. But for those of you that don't know me, my name is Leland Chung. I'm a father, a husband. I've worked in the private sector, investing in companies right here in Massachusetts, and I'm currently in my third term on the Cambridge City Council. I'd like to say that, there's a brief story on why I'm just so thankful that you're all here today. My father immigrated to Massachusetts in 1969 to pursue his education at Boston University. And what he found here was just so different and unique from anything he'd known previously. He became determined to instill in me an appreciation for that same sense of civic responsibility and participation. So every few years we went back to visit my cousins in China, and I tell them they couldn't gather in a room like you're gathered here today to debate which candidate is going to be the best to lead us forward. They couldn't run for office because they thought they had something different to offer than what the party platform already was. They couldn't write an op-ed in the newspaper criticizing a government decision without risking reprisal on themselves or their families. So I'm so happy to see you all today, because you cannot have a government for the people, by the people, if the people don't show up, and Framingham today has shown up. So that led me in 2009 to run for the Cambridge City Council and leave the private sector, where I was investing in companies right here in Massachusetts. Over the last 3 terms, I've earned a reputation as one of the most progressive, productive members of the council, fighting to invest in early childhood education and and track our kids after they leave for college. I've stood shoulder to shoulder with working men and women as they fight for a better paying job from some of our biggest companies. But the most important thing I've learned is what it takes to run a city day to day. And whoever our governor is needs a partner, and residents need a partner in the corner office who understands how municipal services work, someone who's advocating for them. Our city councilors, our selectmen, our town meeting members, they need an advocate, and that's why I jumped into this race for lieutenant governor. Again, my name is Leland Chung. Ask you for your support at the caucus. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Jonathan Edward.
My name is Jonathan Edwards, and I am a Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor. I am running for this seat because I'm a consensus builder. I'm a consensus builder that is going to bring to this state experience, substance, and common sense in the office of lieutenant governor. I'm a 10-year member of my Board of Selectmen. I serve on leadership panels across the state. I serve on the policy committee of the Mass Municipal Association. I know exactly the challenges that Framingham and other cities and towns across this Commonwealth go through on a regular basis. From Chapter 90 to Chapter 70 to the abysmal 75% reimbursement of SPED, which should be reimbursed at 100% right away. I understand the needs of economic development. I understand that we need to bring back our middle class in this state. Is 7% the new norm for patting ourselves on the back and say our economy is humming along? No, it's not. We need to get it down to 6, 5, 4%, and we're going to do that through a manufacturing base that's precision manufacturing and advanced manufacturing. Finally, I'm a dad. I'm a dad of a 6-year-old little girl and a 9-year-old little boy. I have a great wife. I'm a baseball coach, a soccer coach. I understand what everyone in this room and across the state goes through on a regular basis to live their life and the balance of work family. And I'll bring that common sense to the corner office on his or her benefit as his or her wingman, because it's about implementation. I want to ask for your support. I used to work for Paul Songus, and Paul said, if you want to be a leader, you be a consensus builder. If you don't want to build consensus, you're never going to be a leader. And I want to be a leader that helps the next governor implement a vision, a democratic vision with democratic ideals all across this state. I appreciate your support today, in June, and in September. Thank you very much.
Next candidate is James Arena DeRosa.
I didn't want to cut the line on the other. Sure. Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here in Framingham, home of my good friend Dave Vignani and my current state senator Karen Spilka. My name is James Arena DeRosa, and I'm running for lieutenant governor to be an advocate for the cities and towns and underserved communities of Massachusetts. As some of you may know, I just left the Obama administration. I was the lead official for all food, nutrition, and agriculture issues in the Northeast United States. I worked with mayors and governors and municipal leaders, and also was at food banks and farms and schools and municipal areas, making sure that 1 in 4 Americans had enough food to eat during the greatest recession of our lifetimes. I'm from down the street in Holliston, grew up in Massachusetts, grew up in a working middle class, second generation immigrant family, worked my way through Xaverian, worked my way through Harvard, grew up in a family where we were taught to make a difference in the lives of others. Yesterday was the anniversary of John Kennedy founding the Peace Corps, and many of us answered that call to serve in many different ways. I had leadership roles at Oxfam and at Peace Corps, but rest assured I'm comfortable in the corridors of power. At USDA, I negotiated with governors and cabinet secretaries. I testified before legislators. I worked with mayors and municipal leaders. I led a senior team that ran 15 federal programs. I am the only candidate in this race that has administered a $12 billion annual budget. Your lieutenant governor is the potential CEO of Massachusetts. I've run a $12 billion enterprise, but I've served on my finance committee and understand that important relationship between cities and towns, the state, and the federal government. 3 quick issues. We can end hunger and also create thousands of jobs. we're almost last in the country for school breakfast. We can do better. We've got to incorporate a more classical approach to educating the whole child. And as a former SEIU union organizer, yes, I support the minimum wage. We've got to fight for the living wage in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thanks so much. I'll be back in Framingham to take questions and talk with you. But I'm running because I believe we live in extraordinary times that requires our sacrifice and the very best of what we have to offer the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Thank you very, very much.
Next office I'd like to have candidates talk about is the Attorney General's office. First one is Maura Healey.
Thank you. I hope you can all see me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maura Healey. I'm running for Attorney General. I am running because I believe the office of Attorney General is incredibly important, and there are millions of folks around this state who are going to rely on the decisions and the judgment of your next Attorney General. I come to you this morning having served in that office the last 7 years. I was chief of 2 of the major bureaus. I oversaw half of the attorneys and staff in that office. And I know that that experience leaves me ready to lead on day one. But I also know it's more than that. It's about the values. And I want to bring my progressive values, my values in standing up for people and individuals in this state to build on the work of that office. I led the fight in the office to take on the Defense of Marriage Act, standing and winning in court the first case in the country to strike down that law. That's an example of what an AG's office can do. I led the fight building teams to take on predatory banks and mortgage brokers that stripped equity from our communities, and oversaw a program that kept thousands of unnecessary foreclosures from going forward. I know there are vulnerable people in this state who need an advocate, and I will be your advocate. I want that office to be an office that stands up for individuals, that safeguards communities, working in partnership with district attorneys and police, but as importantly, working with you and town officials and city officials across this state to make that happen. And I want to be an office that leads by fairness and accountability. You know, I come to you today, my dad was a high school history teacher, my mom was a school nurse. I'm the oldest of 5, came down to Harvard College, and as you know, played a little basketball there. I was a point guard for my team and a point guard overseas when I played professionally. And I guess I look at the Attorney General's office as the people's law firm. And I'm asking today for your support to be the people's point guard in that law firm to make sure that you have the most effective, the most prepared, and the most forward-looking Attorney General's office in the country. Thank you for your time. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote.
Next, I'd like to call up Warren Tolman.
Thanks, Tom. Good afternoon. My name is Warren Tolman, and I'm running for Attorney General because I believe there is no other office from which one can have such an extraordinarily positive impact affecting the lives of the people of Massachusetts. I grew up in Watertown. I'm the 7th of 8 kids. My mom and dad started our family in a federal housing project in Boston. They taught us some very important lessons along the way: to work hard, to stand up for what you believe in. Those lessons are lessons that I took to me when I had the pleasure of serving in the Massachusetts House and Senate. I took on the tobacco industry. At the time, they hadn't been beaten in a long time up in Beacon Hill. I beat them in a number of different ways. In fact, the American Cancer Society liked my work so much they sent me around the country. Rush Limbaugh didn't like my work so much that he called me an anti-smoking Nazi when he attacked me on national radio. I also have a real problem with the pernicious influence of big money and special interest money on the political process. It doesn't matter what issue you care about: the environment, housing, mental illness, health care. The influence of special interest money permeates it all and has a negative influence on what we, as Democrats, care about, our values. At the end of the day, it can't be about money. It's got to be about values. That's why I stood up and passed the last campaign finance and ethics reform piece. I also was the only candidate in 2002 to be certified as a clean elections candidate. I'm going to take those values to the Attorney General's office. I'm going to stand up because today's version of big tobacco is the NRA. And they have way too much influence down in D.C. I'm going to fight them and work to make our community safer. And irrespective of your race, your religion, your sexual orientation, I want you to know that you will have an advocate. You will have a fighter. You will have someone in your corner when I'm your Attorney General. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Next office is the Treasurer's office. I'd like to call up Deb Goldberg.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all today. I'm Deb Goldberg, and I'm running for Massachusetts State Treasurer. You know, the Treasurer's office is really a big organization with so many departments: cash management, the unclaimed properties, veterans benefits, managing and investing the $55 billion plus pension fund. But I will also be a treasurer that invests in people. I will use my business background. I was an executive for many years with Stop and Shop, the company that my family founded. I have a finance background. My MBA is from Harvard, and I went to BC Law School. And I will use all those skills to make sure that every day we make government work for everyone, but at the end of the day, we understand as Democrats that government is for people. So besides being able to do all of the jobs in the Treasurer's office, I was elected a local leader. I was chairman of the Board of Selectmen, and I'm an elected state committee woman. So I have that background. I'm the president of an adoption agency. I'm one of the founders and was the treasurer of a school for kids with cognitive disabilities. I will bring my values to the office and make sure we do things right away, like wage equality. Day one, wage equality will be in the Treasurer's office. It's not just a woman's issue, it is a family issue. Financial literacy will grow from being a grant program. I will put a laser focus on it, and we will have a statewide, robust program for kids, for parents, for veterans, you name it. I hope to have your support at the convention in June, and I hope to have your vote in September, and hopefully beyond. There's so much for us to do, and we can do it together. Thank you so much.
Next candidate for treasurer is Representative Tom Conroy.
Hi, I am Tom Conroy. Excuse me. It is a privilege and honor to represent Precinct 3 here for the past couple of years. I'm the local guy in this race. I live just up the road in Wayland with my wife and 4 daughters, 3 of whom are triplets, as many of you know. And I am running for state treasurer because I fundamentally believe that this Commonwealth of Massachusetts should be a Commonwealth of equal opportunity, a place where folks who are working hard have a chance to move up and move ahead. That's getting more and more difficult today. The economy has changed, but I want to use the tools of the Treasurer's office to offer more student loans, low-cost financing, so more of our aspiring students can go to college and not be dragged down by debilitating debt for decades. I want to follow Steve Grossman's path by investing more of our Massachusetts taxpayer dollars in local banks so that they can lend to local businesses right here in Framingham and throughout our Commonwealth, so that they can hire local residents to maintain job growth throughout this state. Those are some of the things that I want to do, and I've been doing that throughout the past 25 years, working every day to create opportunities for folks. In the private sector, I've helped companies grow, create new products, new jobs. I've also helped state agencies grow their budgets without raising taxes, to help hire more social workers and more school teachers, to help those in need and to make our schools the best they possibly can be right here in Massachusetts. As a state rep, I have passed 3 laws on financial management that have helped increase our credit rating, lowered our borrowing costs, saved taxpayers tens of millions of dollars, bringing good financial management practices into the State House. I have authored a bill that is soon to become law to help single moms get the kind of child care they need,
so that they can hold on to a job. And I am the author on the House of Representatives of a bill to raise the minimum wage dramatically, because the working families of this state need a raise, they deserve a raise, and no one should be working full-time in this state and living in poverty. This is the kind of approach, these are the kind of values, this is what I am bringing to this office of treasurer: financial management, democratic values, and compassion. I'm Tom Conroy. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote at the convention and at the primary. Tom Conroy, I've got triplets, and I'm running for treasurer. Thank you.
Next person I'd like to bring up is Senator Feingold.
Thank you, Tom. I'm State Senator Barry Feingold, and I'm running for State Treasurer. In my personal life, I work for everything that I have. Had a paper route as a young kid, unloaded trucks at 3 in the morning to pay for my own college education, worked 2 jobs to pay for my law school education, and helped start my own business, and now we have 25 plus people. In my public sector career, I've been a selectman, been a state representative, been a state senator, fought for things like increasing the minimum wage and also for financial literacy, because in our state, we have way too many people losing their houses to foreclosure and to bankruptcy. And as your next state treasurer, I'll work hard every single day to protect taxpayer money. Now, I want to tell you something I'm for and something I'm against. I am for divestment of our pension funds because we should have less investment in fossil fuels and more investment in clean energy. And I saw someone about to clap, and you can clap if you want to. And the second thing is we do have a lottery. And with gaming coming on, the lottery is going to take a hit. And I'll do everything I can to bring as much money back to Framingham as possible. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to have people using credit cards to buy scratch tickets, and I don't support online gaming, because at the end of the day, we have to be careful where we go with gaming, because to me, it's still a tax on the poor. My name is State Senator Barry Feingold, and I'm running for State Treasurer, and Tip O'Neill made a famous line, very famous. If you don't ask for people's support, don't expect it. So I came here to Framingham to say, respectfully ask for your support, and I hope to have your vote today and also on September 9th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next one I'd like to call up, I know she doesn't have an opponent, but I'd like to call up the present auditor, Suzanne Bump.
Thank you. I am delighted to be back here in Framingham. I am, as you just heard, unopposed in the Democratic primary. But yes, thank you. I think that's a wonderful thing too. But I do have a Republican and a Green Party candidate, and so I'm here because I'm going to need your help in November. When I first ran in 2010, I ran with a plan to use the office to become an agent for accountability in state government. And I also had a vision for how the office could make state government work better. And those things were important to me because as a Democrat, like you, I believe in not just the ability, but really the mandate of government to be an agent for individual and societal and economic growth. And I want people to believe in government and its possibilities, but frankly, they don't when they see with their own eyes that agencies aren't working. And so I know that sometimes my audits create headlines that you don't want to see, and frankly, that I don't want to see either. But more than making headlines, the office helps make change in government so that things do work better, so that taxpayer dollars are better spent, so that there is less waste and more efficiency in state government. That, I think, is the calling that we have as Democrats to help build people's confidence in government at all levels. That certainly is what propels me in this office and why I seek your support for re-election to another term as your state auditor. Thank you so much for the honor and the opportunity to serve you.
We also have a few candidates here that are running for governor's council. So first I'd like to call up Bart Timilty.
Mark Timilty. I got a chance to meet many of you in 2012 when I ran for this office the first time. I was unsuccessful, but as they say, if you don't succeed, try and try again. What I'm committed to in my personal and professional life is reducing recidivism, to get people who are in our state custody now back to the community and to keep them there. I think the trial court needs to be more creative, needs to be more progressive and proactive in the superior court levels, in sentencing, in reforming the probation department, and I want to be the voice that pushes the trial court in that direction as each and every judge comes up for his nomination. So I thank you for your attention. I know you have important work to do, and I have a sore throat, so I will say farewell. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd also like to call up Bob Jubenville.
Thank you very much. Since you put your trust in me and elected me to the Governor's Council, I was honored to represent you at that body, and I'm also honored to work with your delegation from Metro West, Senator Spilka, Representative Santacondro, Walsh, and Conroy at the State House. It's been a great pleasure and honor for me. I have not missed one meeting at the Governor's Council, and every time I appear, I am ready for the candidate. I ask questions which I feel are important, and I like to think we raised the bar a little bit on the governor's nomination for judicial appointments by refusing to vote on some that had never even been in our court system. So at least the governor has paid some attention to that. The rest of my term, unless I'm on a hospital bed, I'm going to make every single meeting. I ask for your support and I ask for your vote for my re-election to the Governor's Council from District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that concludes all our, no, we have one more, I'm sorry. We have Marion Ryan for District Attorney.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back out here. I've had an opportunity to meet many of you at the town committee meetings and some of our programs in this area. As many of you know, I was appointed district attorney by Governor Patrick in the spring of this year. And there are three very important things that I would suggest to you help to commend my appointment to him. The first is experience doing this job. I've spent the last 34 years doing this job, and the importance of that was illustrated by my appointment in the middle of the April bombings, when we never expected those things to happen. And within the first 48 hours, I was making a determination about what and where we would try the individual who had executed the MIT police officer. That takes experience, it takes perspective, and it takes judgment. I've honed all of those over 34 years. The second thing is commitment. Aside from raising my two wonderful children, this is my life's work. This is my first run for public office. I am running to continue this work, to continue the privilege of so many times meeting people in what is the worst moment of their lives, when they've been victimized, when they've witnessed something, and bringing them to a place and helping them to navigate an unfathomable process, bringing them to some justice and some closure for that incident. And the third piece is a proven track record of making sure that some of those crimes are not happening, that we are educating people and doing our prevention work. Out here, I've had an opportunity to do a great deal of work in workplace safety at the Senior Center, protecting our seniors, in our college safety initiative, working with the colleges, and also dealing with the opiate issues that so many of our communities are struggling with. So it is my first run for office. I'm asking for your support and your vote in the September primary. Thank you.
We do have another candidate for District Attorney here, Michael Sullivan.
You know, it's tough when you're either just before lunch or just before the caucus starting. So I promise to keep it under 2 minutes. Hi, I'm Michael Sullivan. I'm running for District Attorney. And I didn't take the thought process of running for district attorney lightly. I put a lot of time into it because I know personally the difference that this office can make. It takes three components. It's the vision to see, the experience to do, and more importantly, the skill to lead. See, I've been watching for the last number of months, and those things are lacking. But I tell you today, though, that we can make a difference. Yes, the first priority of the DA's office is to prosecute cases. Don't get them wrong. That's what we do. But equally as important, it's about making a difference in our community. It's about prevention. It's about looking at recidivism in terms of how we can make a difference. I gotta tell you, there's nothing wrong with being progressive and being a DA at the exact same time. You see, when you look at the paper last weekend, with some 800 deaths across this Commonwealth as it relates to narcotics, how the DA in this county is not in the leadership of looking at and putting Narcan in our streets to ensure those 800 deaths don't take place is beyond my comprehension. So I ask you to pay attention to this race. I've got to tell you, I've been through the caucuses now for a while, and we've got great candidates as Democrats all across this ballot. But I'm asking you to pay attention to the bottom of the ballot, and when you do so, when you pay attention, there's only one clear conclusion, and it's Michael Sullivan should be your next district attorney. That's why Scott Harshbarger last weekend, our former Attorney General, our former DA, looked at all the skill set and said Michael Sullivan should be the DA in Middlesex County. Thank you all. Have a good caucus.
Thank you, thank you. That concludes the elected offices right now, but we do have two other gentlemen in here that are actually running for state representative for Precinct 3. So I'd like to just ask that they stand to be recognized. Brian LaFord, as well as Carmen Gentile. Thank you.
Also, how about a round of applause for the Framingham High School debate team? Buy some refreshments from them because that money is going to a good cause. It's going to their club.
And Model Congress.
And the what?
Model Congress.
I'm sorry, the Model Congress, our future congressional delegation. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to get back to the business of the caucus. What we're here today is to elect delegates to the state convention in Worcester on June 13th and 14th. Town of Framingham has 35 elected delegates, 17 men and 17 women. The 35th delegate is actually the chair. The chair does not have to be, he goes automatically. We also have 5 alternates, 2 women, 2 men, and the 5th alternate, the gender doesn't matter. So we're going to wind up with 1 vote for the 17 women, 1 vote for the 17 men, 1 vote for the 2 alternate men, 1 for the 2 alternate women, and the final vote will be for the 5th alternate.